Imagine waking up to see Bitcoin flaunting a $100 million price tag while the XRP in your wallet barely blinks. Now, picture the crypto kind of Twitter sphere exploding as self-proclaimed digital gold purists swear up and down that Ripple coin will never stretch past $20, no matter how high Bitcoin soars. Okay, so here's a quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice, right? Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all your money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. Your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for your losses. So this video, it is really only for entertainment and educational purposes only. So here's the scene that detonated my group chat last night. A Bitcoin maximalist, CFA credentials, polished brighter than a hardware wallet in a showroom, dropped a thread claiming that even if Bitcoin rockets to a jaw-dropping $100 million, XRP won't crack 2 digits. Now, he kind of waved around ratios and Satoshi math like a wizard's staff, expecting the rest of us to kind of, basically bow down before the numbers. Naturally, of course, the internet caught fire faster than a kind of greased soak pizza box. Hashtags everywhere, meme storms featuring Ripple's logo flattened into a pancake, and reaction gifs of SpongeBob doing metal kind of gymnastics. And my phone kind of buzzed like a bee swarm, and I knew I had to peel back the layers. So you need to cue the triple espresso kind of montage. I toasted a kind of bagel and opened half a dozen kind of browser tabs and started unthreading the maximalist's argument like a forensic accountant chasing breadcrumbs through an offshore trust. So first up, we have supply, right? We all know Bitcoin's cap at 21 million coins. XRP tops out at a monumental 100 billion. Now, on the surface, that looks like Goliath versus David's extended family reunion. But as every kind of econ professor loves to say, context is king. Now, our maximalist friend, equated 1 XRP to 21,000 Satoshis, the tiniest Bitcoin unit that you can't even see without an electron microscope and a Hail Mary. Now, each ripple is worth dust, he says, or he crowds, right? Now, therefore, it can never break $20. Mic drop, except the mic actually bounced, rolled off the stage, and cracked a hole in the floor. So let's go ahead and get relativity level nerdy for just a second, because comparing XRP directly to Satoshis is kind of like comparing apples to apple seeds. One is meant to be eaten and the other might grow a tree under the right conditions. Now, Satoshis kind of ride on Bitcoin's scarcity narrative, right? XRP rides on utility and cross-border payment rails. Now, you wouldn't measure FedEx trucks on stamps, so let's not measure settlement token in the crumbs of another coin. So the current numbers. Well, XRP hovers around $2 and some change. Bitcoin struts roughly around $105,000. Now that kind of pegs the ratio near 2/10,000ths, right? And if Bitcoin climbs to 100 million and XRP truly freezes at $20, well, the ratio kind of shrivels to 100-fold. Now, our maximalist kind of translates that to a 99% erosion. Brutal, sure, but real markets rarely move in straight lines. Over the last 6 months alone, XRP actually outpaced Bitcoin by about 183% in a single parade, or if you prefer, cupcake. Now, you might need a visual, but I hate editing. So just imagine a marathon where Bitcoin, kind of call him Bitty B, starts the kind of 20 miles ahead wearing titanium sneakers. XRP, rocking neon trainers and a podcast booming in the ears. Takeoff kind of late, but slices the gap in half before the first water station. Betting on XRP kind of reversing and sprinting backwards because someone shouted math from the kind of bleachers is kind of like betting turtles will sprout jet engines. Now, wildly, entertaining, sure, but statistically laughable. So let's humor our maximalist anyway, right? A $100 million Bitcoin kind of balloons the market cap to nearly $2 quadrillion, bigger than Earth's current GDP. Now, if that implies the US dollar has kind of wilted like lettuce in the sun, losing 90+% of its purchasing power, the translation here is that price tags are now kind of monopoly numbers, and my local cafe sells lattes for 0.0003 BTC. Now, in that kind of dystopian but maybe not future, $20 might buy a single avocado toast. So not much for hard ceilings. Meanwhile, of course, bullish prophecies rain from the opposite skybox. Analyst Barry C. floats a tidy $100 XRP. Matthew Brennan from Crypto Guard hurls in a $1,000 XRP, if I can talk today. Now, you've got commentator John Squire. He kicks the ball into orbit with a $10,000 prediction. So high enough that maybe even Elon Musk's satellites kind of wave it as it passes. Now, these kind of moonshot visions, they ignite imaginations, but conveniently ignore basic liquidity math. So let's kind of dismiss them outright. Well, we should say, yet dismissing them outright is actually just as lazy as kind of worshipping them. We can't go one way or the other here. So extreme skepticism and extreme optimism are two ends of the same rubber band then. They only kind of exist because the band is actually stretched. So who remembers the 2017 mania? Now, I was kind of hunched over a kind of repurposed ironing board desk watching Bitcoin change from 4 digits to, 20 grand, and XRP kind of leaped from fractions of a penny to over $3. Briefly leapfrogging Ethereum in market cap. Now, supply stayed the same. Economic textbooks did not rewrite themselves overnight. So, what changed? Sentiment. Turbocharged by fear of missing the rocket. And so here is the kicker that few maximalists will actually admit. If Bitcoin's dominance kind of sticks around 65% and XRP's share hovers around 4%, then a $100 million Bitcoin mathematically nudges XRP's market cap above $121 trillion. Now, that would be about $1,244 a coin. Pretty mind-bending, and it absolutely is, right? Is it impossible? Well, history says it's unlikely. It's not the same as never, though. Utility here still matters, right? Even the laser-eyed avatars have to admit. Ripple's on-demand liquidity corridors, they quietly shuffle money across borders while kind of suit-clad bankers nod, approvingly at the lower friction fees. Regulations kind of thaw worldwide, albeit slower than a sloth with a sunburn, but each new corridor kind of widens the runway for enterprise, demand, and demand that couldn't care less about meme culture, but, really does care deeply about settlement speed. Okay, so it's story time. Now, I'm at a kind of fintech summit last year. I watched a Bitcoin kind of envisionalist and of course a Ripple exec, I should say, share a panel, right? And the energy kind of felt like someone seated a vegan at the kind of all-you-can-eat barbecue, right? The energy, or at least the Bitcoin energy, right? And the Bitcoin guy, he kind of clutched a digital gold like a kind of security blanket. And the Ripple rep just gestured, wildly about settlement, finality, and compliance. And these are the things that a lot of the maximalists kind of forget, right? They kind of debate about it. Nobody kind of actually converted the other one. And yet the takeaway was actually pretty crystal. Gold and oil coexist in the same physical world. And it's important to understand here that so can Bitcoin and XRP in the digital finance world. So let's sprinkle in a little psychology. Once Bitcoin crosses 6 digits, retail investors kind of hurt for cheap coins. Now, the kind of irrational yet persistent perception that lower unit cost equals greater upside. Well, that's kind of why Dogecoin memes printed millionaires back in 2021. In a world where one Bitcoin resembles a Lambo sticker price, XRP sitting at $2 looks like a clearance rack deal. Liquidity and name recognition makes it kind of the obvious candidate for the I missed Bitcoin, what next crowd. And here's a kind of reality TV twist then. Institutions aren't, above chasing narrative either. Banks love predictable fees and regulatory clarity. Ripple's legal scuffles inch towards closure. Each small victory unlocks bigger corridors. So if a greenlit Ripple partnership cuts remittance costs by even a fraction, CFOs everywhere will perk up. Multiply that by every corridor on the planet and suddenly $20 actually feels quite conservative. Now, about that kind of free educational Discord server, yep, there's a link chilling in the description below. Pop in if you want deeper dives, live chat, nerd debates, or just to meme my coffee consumption. It's totally free, community driven, and we pride ourselves on beginner-friendly vibes. And while you're there, peek at the Blowfin crypto exchange via the affiliate link that kind of supports this channel. Blowfin's slick interface and low latency order book kind of gives off early days of the big boys energy, right? Minus of course all the chaos. And because transparency kind of beats shadiness, affiliate, it kind of means that if you sign up and trade, Blowfin shares a slice of the pie with us here. No extra cost to you, but it helps keep the neon lights humming behind me. Okay, so let's get back to our narrative crescendo then. If Bitcoin Moon kind of launches, global finance either kind of integrates or implodes on itself. Countries might hold BTC in reserves, coffee shops slap QR codes, buy the kind of cash register, payroll departments adopt Satoshi brackets. But do we really believe that every other asset, it just kind of stagnates? Historically, seismic Bitcoin moves actually drag altcoins along like plastic ducks behind a speedboat, sometimes delayed but often amplified. So here is how I navigate the unknown. I diversify, right? A core Bitcoin stack, measured XRP bag, if you will, plus a sprinkling of other projects that pass my kind of sniff test. I rebalance, I stay curious and cautious, I respect the risk. Now that's not advice, remember, right, the opening disclaimer, but it is a kind of radical honesty that I have here. If either Bitcoin maximalism or XRP utopia kind of proves 100% accurate, well, I'm covered. If reality lands somewhere in between, like it usually does, I'm still sleeping at night quite comfortably. Lightning round myth busting before we sign off. Huge supply does not doom a token, right? Demand is the second half of the equation. A $100 million Bitcoin does not instantly topple every kind of fiat regime. It reshapes economics in unpredictable ways. Token market caps can theoretically exceed current global GDP because they can tokenize more than existing money. They can capture derivatives, carbon credits, tokenized real estate, you name it. It's also important to understand that market caps are only a representation of macro level pricing, not of liquidity, right? The market cap itself is just supply multiplied by price. So what moves price is supply and the demand. So if you understand economics, then you know how to move the price. Well, you can see that the market cap is going to move relative to the price action. So understanding that liquidity is a fraction, it's actually a very small amount of the total market cap, will help you no end. Now, and of course, if your brain is now like spaghetti bowl of numbers, narratives, and espresso foam, congratulations, right? You have tasted the crypto information diet. So smash that like button if you found value here, then share this video with a friend who thinks blockchain is a Minecraft expansion pack. Slide into the comments and tell me if Bitcoin really hits $100 million, where do you pin XRP? 20, 200, 1,000, 10,000? Meme it up. I read every take, even at 3 AM in all caps. And remember, the free crypto Discord server is linked down below. It awaits your click, right? Stocked with chart wizards and dad jokes galore. If you're ready to trade on the up and coming platform that is Blowfin, well, check out the affiliate link. It is right there too. Just trade responsibly or you'll star in your own cautionary tale. So thanks for riding shotgun on this kind of speculative joyride, if you will. Stay skeptical, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe for more mind-bending crypto narratives.